Hi guys, welcome to Let's Talk BD, the official podcast of the BD School, the first educational platform entirely dedicated to business development. Here we interview business development professionals working in the field every day, as well as startup founders, so they can give you all the insights, tips, and best practices to help you become a better business development professional. Let's get ready for the next episode. I'm Lucia, I'm your host, and today with me there is Augusto, and we're going to talk about how is it to do business development in the 90s. Is quite some experience in sales and business development, so we'll see what he can tell us about the evolution of this field over the years. So welcome, Augusto.
Hey, thanks, Lucia. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for having me here today. I'm happy to join and to share information and interact with you and all the audience.
Awesome. So as I was saying before, of course, you have many years of experience, which we love because we can learn a lot from you. Maybe you can start by telling us more about your career journey so far and what have you been up to in these years?
So great. My education and graduation was in economics, actually, in IT, information technology. But the IT brought me to the market real quick as I have had my first opportunity to work actually in a major company. Most of my experience has been in large corporations, multinational, in the technology field. And I joined IBM as my first job, doing services in the software segment. And then project implementation, proposal management, and then account management and sales. Then I had an opportunity to move to Motorola to run a startup of a customer from the vendor point of view. And again, did implementation operations and business development for most part of the time. Had a chance to manage networks business and also the device, the cellular business, doing business development and strategy. And my last cycle was with Nokia, doing business development and sales on digital platforms, software solutions, cloud, cybersecurity, and emerging technologies in Latin America. That has been quite a long journey. I'm very happy and proud of the journey. I had the chance also to do my executive MBA in administration and in my master's degree here in São Paulo, Brazil, to complement the knowledge. My economic background on graduation, I'm curious on macroeconomics, especially. I believe that all of us, we need to develop some basic skills for our personal life and professional life. One of them is on the finance side, so you can properly manage your finance, private finance, but also manage the business from my finance point of view. So that's why I get curious and I use a lot of that knowledge in my day-to-day job. But that was my journey on the technology field for many years.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And that's when you mention microeconomics, that's pretty much the only economical subject that I enjoyed at the university. So that's nice. For the rest, no, not really my cup of tea. So, but we're learning, so that's good. Cool. So, the topic of today is a sort of a throwback to the 90s because, of course, you're very experienced and you work in some very cool companies. You mentioned IBM and Motorola. So definitely some very important staples in the technology field. So we're curious, we are 90s kids, we're a bit nostalgic and we want to know how was it to, do business development when you started?
Actually, that brought us, that's a good question because allow us to have a discussion on the evolution, right? From where we are coming to where we are going. And during that period of time, most of the business development activities, they were done by marketing and eventually sales. So there is not actually a business development function in the organizations, if you will. Was mostly the activities was being done by other functions, right? So you have that spread in the organization. There was no specific tools, let's say, developed for business development specifically. And also, you can imagine that there was no training, formal training course.
That didn't change.
That didn't change. By the way, congratulations, because I believe that the Business Development School is an initiative, covering and actually capturing that market opportunity and bringing knowledge to the professionals and to career growth for the people that love, business development. So that's very positive.
Thank
and
you.
I see. So what was more, somebody else on another function was doing the business development, and that I stayed for many years because, of course, depending on the size of the company, the size of the organization, each one can define, the business development function based on the business needs, on how they want to approach the market, how they want to drive the initiatives. So it depends on the organization, that definition, and that still remain. If today, if you ask what business development is, you go to a company. It can be a small company, a large company, medium-sized company, and you ask, what do you understand by business development? And you're probably going to get different answers, from each of them. So there is no one definition fits all, right?
Indeed.
which actually is good. Like I like that, because then you can define. You can define once you are in the role of the business development. Of course, you have the guidance from the company, you have the targets, the goals, but then you can define, what you're going to do. So what you need to do so you can accomplish your goals, right? Or the organizational goals. So it's typically the business development is a very broad function in the organizations. You can do a lot, right? And but there is no one single definition that fits all. It's not like, let's say you want to be a doctor, right? You go, you have the university, medicine. So you want to be a lawyer, right? You go to the university, you get the graduation, then you're going to be a lawyer. It can be in a company or a private office. And there is that, I mentioned like straight line career, right? That's not business development. That's not business development.
Not at all.
So you need to do a little bit of everything, right? You need to be an expert on sales, right? You need to understand, and I believe that a more successful business development, if they had previous experience on sales, would have more chance to be successful. Also need to have knowledge on marketing, and because you do piece of marketing also. Mm-hmm. In general speaking, Lucia, I like also always to analyze the sales cycle, right? So the sales cycle, typically is divided in many steps, starting the prospecting, marketing research, opportunity identification, lead generation, and then it ends by closing the deal, and then you have the delivery, the post-delivery, the post-sales actions. So that's the whole sales cycle. And the business development, actually, until the deal closure, they touch the opportunity, they create the opportunity, and they touch the opportunity in most of the steps of the cycle, right? But with more emphasis in some steps and less emphasis in other steps, right? Of course, depending on the organization size, then you define if you need to emphasize more, more close to the deal closure, or if you need to emphasize more on the lead generation, pipeline creation, and pipeline growth. So depending on the size of the organization, you may emphasize and prioritize one step of the cycle or the other.
Cool.
So, but nowadays, just to complement, nowadays we talk about the training, right? Still there is a gap, and that's a white space, and you are doing that. Congratulations, the Business Development School. I see that today we have many tools, right? Today in the market, you have many tools to do, networking, or to do, lead generation, to do even opportunity tracking, CRMs. You have huge amount of tools that would allow and make you more productive in the business development function. And I see that on how the how you do business development evolved a lot, especially due to the internet and due to the mobility solutions. So you can do business development, wherever you are, right?
Yeah,
on the
from
go,
the computer.
from the computer, from your cell phone, from your smartphone, from your tablet, where, in the car, in the taxi, in the airplane, in the office, at home. So it's this technology, enable, business development anytime, anywhere, if you will, right? So that's a big change, right? That's a big change. So a few years ago, many years ago, you need to be at the office and making a phone call and the day is done, you go home and you don't do business development. But nowadays you do business development,
That's true. It's continuous, basically.
It's
You're
continuous.
always plugged in, basically.
So I see that as a major change, on how tools and more productivity, they're always on. But still early stages, as I said, the companies, they have, each company has its own definition, depending on the industry, depending on the customer strategy, the organization, so on and so forth. But that's evolving. So slowly, it's a new science, if you will.
Cool. Yeah, and that's really interesting, actually, because when I started in business development as well, like 13 years ago now, the only thing I had was my phone and the yellow pages. So I would just go through the numbers and call people. But nowadays, like, I really couldn't imagine my life without LinkedIn, for example, or emails, or just, like all the other social network that we have. That's true. They really facilitated our life. But how was it, like in the past without that, without LinkedIn? How were you doing?
Yeah, no, that's good. That's curiosity. And let me bring you my view on that, because there are few. Actually, I believe there are 5. There may be many, but I believe there are 5 pillars on business development, like basics, principles. Or basic requirement that remains, that didn't change, right? So the business development, person or whoever is doing that needs to have the growth mindset, right? So business development for me means growth, right? It can be growth in market share, it can be growth in revenue, it can be growth, acquiring new customers. It can be whatever, depends on the strategy and the metric that you use for the success. But business development for me means growth, right? So that didn't change, right? That, was a business development function 15 years ago, and it is today, right? The business development person needs to be strategic, strategic thinking. So what are you going to do? Strategic, coupled with innovation, right? Because you need to define, or need to identify how to be different, how to do different, right? I like to use terminology to differentiate the business development from an account manager, right? I was account manager many times. I'm not saying that one is more important than the other, because everybody has its important in an organization. I'm just trying to, differentiate what they should be doing, or what they be doing, right? So the business development mindset is a hunting mindset, right? You need to go after, you need to, find new ways, you need to upsell, or if you have a customer, you're going to need to upsell, whatever you have, finding new opportunities. If you need to bring new customers, you need to go after new markets, you need to strategize. So you need to have a much more of hunting, mindset, growth mindset on the business development. On the account manager, you have a customer to manage. I like to say that, it's a much more on a farming approach, right? You need to keep the customer happy. Of course, the business developer needs to keep the customer happy also, but, the account manager, you need to keep the customer happy. Of course, you need to close deals. You're going to need to, but it's different. You need to nurture, that customer, that business, and the business development needs to do the hunting, right? So it's like hunting and farming, right? So you can have a better visibility on the two differences. And but just coming back to the basics that didn't change over time. So I see the growth mindset. I started to talk about the growth mindset, and then I shared this view on.
It's good. Business developers like to talk a lot, so that's good.
So I see the growth mindset. Innovation. It's another pillar. You're gonna need to do different, right? Because if you are there just to do the same, somebody else can do the job. You need to do different. You need to create new opportunities. You need to grow the pipeline. You need to enter new markets. You need to gain market share. You need to increase the top line. So innovation, strategic thinking, growth mindset, and orchestration. And I put orchestration together with soft skills, right? Because typically when you are in a more larger organization, in my experience, it comes much more from larger organizations. The business development needs to be the orchestrator, of the other resources that are going to be needed so you can, let's say, move the opportunity, right? And I'm talking mostly about a B2B type of a business relationship, but that's similar to B2C in the sense that what you need to move internally in the company to make the business to grow. So the business development person needs to be the orchestrator. They need to have a very strong soft skills, right? Communication, persistence, collaboration. I believe collaboration is key. So they can have,
totally.
from marketing, from the account manager, if that's the case, from the product line, product team, from finance, So bottom line, the business development needs to be an orchestrator and the facilitator so the opportunity can move internally, coordinating the internal resources and make the business to grow.
Cool. Yeah, I'm very happy that you mentioned that actually, because every time I hear business developers, like going crazy on the new technologies and so on, it seems like, these new technologies, Clubhouse, I think is the most recent example. Everybody's crazy about it, which I think it's a great tool, of course, to get visibility and so on. But in the end of the day, when you do business development, there are these staples, and there is relations with people, which doesn't really change. So did you feel like besides the productivity element of all this new technology, that of course helps a lot, what do you think are the benefits of these technologies when it comes to business development?
Well, you can have, as you just said, used an example of Clubhouse. You have many others. You mentioned also LinkedIn, with the different approach. But you have the social media, all the social media and the digital media that you can social networking, that you can have more visibility, and then increase the awareness about yourself, and also your products, if you are advertising or approaching the market. So that expanded, the possibilities of being exposed, right? Exposing to the markets and creating new leads at the same time that, shortening the cycle time of these initial steps, that's short, and that's more towards the productivity, as we just discussed previously. But that's all these technologies. They are part of the day-to-day job. Today you need to do. Of course, you need to have your strategy. You need to align the content. That's very key. It's not that you keep, you're gonna keep throwing things on the social media. You need to be very, very knowledgeable, very intelligent on the content that you're gonna put there, so you can pass your value proposition. You can position your product. You can target your right customers. Don't spread all over. Otherwise, it won't become a spam. So be very specific. You understand your customer. Map your market, and use them, because this is gonna help.
Awesome. Yeah. And again, like I totally agree on the fact that at the end of the day, strategies, or like the way to do business development is always the same. It doesn't really change because we're dealing with people. But then, of course, all the technology that comes in, enables us to do something else. But I'm curious to know if there are some strategies that you used in the past that worked for you and that you think, or that, that are still working today. Because I think it's important also for young people to know that, there is a history of business development, and that we can learn from it, because some things, they're just going to keep working regardless. So what are those strategies?
Yeah, so if one strategy or one thing that I can share, and maybe, of course, it's my view, is I believe you need to be lucky. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
what means
it
being
helps.
Lucky? It helps. But you know what it means for me, being lucky? Being lucky is being preparation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being lucky, being preparation. So you need to be prepared. right? You need to study your market. You need to do market research. You need to understand your target customer. You need to understand your customer environment. You need to understand the competitive landscape. You need to understand where you are playing, where you want to be. You need to understand the customer needs, because you need to solve a problem. If there is no customer need, there is no business opportunity, right? If there is no customer pain, there is no business opportunity. So you need to do preparation. So lucky for me means preparation, right? And you need to do training, right?
Yeah.
You need to, of course, you can't stay 6 months doing preparation and then let's go after,
yeah.
right?
Totally.
So you do on the fly, right? Because at the end, in couple with the preparation, you need to have the opportunity, right? So the opportunity needs to arise, right? But you're going to capture the opportunity if you are ready, if you are prepared. You know what I mean? So if you are prepared, so you need to have a combination of the opportunity and the preparation. So if both combine, then you are lucky, right?
Absolutely. And, for our students listening now, they know how much we care about research in our training. So, guys, it's not only me. Augusto thinks the same. So sorry. But yeah, I'm very happy to hear indeed, because preparation, research is key. At the end of the day, customers are always the same, like, of course they change their behavior and so on, but you need to understand what they want, how the market works, because that's really how you can build your opportunities. And of course, it seems like now we're talking about BD. Of course, we're both very excited about it, and we know that it's an amazing field, but of course, it's also challenging. So I guess there have been some mistakes that you made in your career when it comes to BD that maybe you want to share with us, so we can avoid making them as well. So what do you consider to be the biggest mistake that you made in your career as a business developer?
Well, that's an interesting question, because that takes me to another thought. And I have seen this many times, a lot of the times. And it's a job requirement, and you see there, you need to have a proven track of record of success, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would rewrite that, right? If I hire somebody, so every time that I hire somebody, I ask, what was your key failure and what you learned, right?
Oh, that's spot on, right?
Yes. So what you learned, because I don't believe that any professional would have, just a success, right? So you typically you learn more when there is a failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would rephrase that requirement in the job description, say you need to have a proven track record of success and failures.
We're going to do that for our job descriptions. I'm going to take totally.
Because you need to learn, of course, you learn from others. You have different ways to learn. You learn from, sharing experience, but you learn by doing, by failing. And then you need to take the lessons learned and move on and continue to learn, right? Mm-hmm. I don't say that was a mistake, but I worked in, let's say, 2 years opportunity that didn't, go anywhere. It was it didn't continue. So mm-hmm. It was a major project, major opportunity. It was a new entry in the market here in Brazil, investments from companies coming here to start business in Brazil. And we worked during 2 years doing business plan, doing strategizing, financials, architecture, product development, because there was a lot of development, new development mm-hmm. to fulfill the customer requirements, engagements, regulatory change. It was a huge effort. During 2 years, but at the end, the decision was not to do the investment, because they decided to do another investments in their home country. The business was viable, but strategically they decided to invest in their home country, instead of moving abroad. So that's something that I recall, because that I learned a lot on the different steps of the opportunity and the engagement.
Mm-hmm.
But that did not generate a concrete results for the company.
Cool. And if you could go back, what would you do if you were in that occasion? Because this is actually a very common problem in business development. Sometimes we just pursue the wrong opportunities. We spend a lot of time and energy and then just realize that it wasn't really viable. So if you would go back, what would you do differently?
Well, there is I can't say on this particular case that the qualification was not done properly, because it was a good opportunity. So we run the qualification. By the way, qualify the leads, qualify the opportunities is one of the business development function. You should be doing that, and classify is high probability, low probability, mid probability, considering the different factors and risks of each opportunity. So I can't say that was not properly qualified, because it was a great opportunity. But in the end, I believe the outcome was not what we wanted and expected, mostly because of an external factor, which was this decision. So that's in this particular case, that was the main reason. Eventually I will do differently in terms of reaching more, expand even more the stakeholders from the management team and the customer side.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe we had pretty much that well covered. But maybe we could do a little bit more in terms of stakeholders management, which I don't believe could change the outcome, because, as I said, was mostly an external factor that drove us to that result.
Okay, sounds good. And well, then of course we always like to give some very practical advice to especially young people, that are getting into business development. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to someone that wants to enter in business development, but also someone that wants to grow? Because, well, of course you had several positions, you were head, you were director, and so on. So what piece of advice would you give to young talent that, want to build a career in business development?
Yeah, I believe, and we see more, right? We see more people getting motivated and energized to act, to be a business developer and have a career, which is very positive. I believe, and again, I don't want to be repetitive, but I believe the preparation, is key. Go to trainings, join network groups. Listen to podcasts, get to your team, experts, get a mentorship program. And I know the business development is doing that. I'm proud to be part of the team. So exchange experience with others, create your network of business development experts, so you can learn from others. That would expedite your learning curve in your development cycle. I truly believe learning from others is a very intelligent path to learn. And don't be afraid to fail, right? Don't be afraid to fail. Do things. Take new challenges. Of course, be smart, but don't be afraid to fail. If you fail. If you fail, you don't lose. I like to say that, right? If you fail, you learn. If you win, you win. But if you fail, it's not that you lost. You didn't lose. You actually learn it. So don't hesitate. Don't be afraid to try. Keep moving. Move on. Get new business. Growth mindset. How can we grow? New ideas, innovation. Let's do differently. Let's create, new pipeline, new products, new markets. So that's the mindset.
Awesome. And great. So, as a last question, we're a very international community eventually. You're in Brazil, I'm in the Netherlands, but I'm Italian originally. So, I always like to ask questions which are more like not really business development related, but more like culturally related. And it's for all the people that are listening to the podcast today, what is the best thing about Brazil that they should all know?
Well, yeah, I like that because the international experience. I had the chance, working on great and international countries to travel, all over the world, and meet different people, learn different cultures. I believe that enrich a lot your not only your professional career but also your personal life, which is very very important. And I believe we nurture some of that in the business development school due to the diversity of people you have in the team, which is very positive. So, but I see that Brazil, it's the potential of Brazil in terms of growth it's huge. The 210 million population. It's a growing, under development country with lots of opportunity, lots of natural resource. People is very, friendly and energized and very creative, flexible. So it's a good place to do business, to grow your career. Brazil is part of Latin America, and beautiful place, natural beauty, beaches, very famous on the sports and soccer, but
Definitely.
very good to grow, definitely, but very good to grow professionally and develop the business in your career. So once you have a chance to come to Brazil, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to entertain and give you some more specific suggestions so you can enjoy and then come back many times.
Nice. Yeah, personally, I used to do business with some of your fellow Brazilians back in the days, and I just always loved working with you guys. It was just so chill, nice. People are really welcoming and kind, and it's just really a pleasure to do business with Brazilians. So I really enjoyed my time there. Is there something maybe specific about the culture that business developers should know if they're starting working in Brazil as business developers?
Well, that's the business culture. So that is one thing that the Brazilians like is actually has been impacted during this pandemic is the face-to-face contact, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's cultural, right? They like to meet face-to-face, shake hands, get the personal touch, right? So they like that, right? And so typically we have discussions on when we sell support services. So
Mm-hmm.
they want to have somebody there, sitting, and of course there is a cost associated, right? There is a price for that, but they prefer, they don't know, so they like. So of course we are moving to digital, pandemic, digital transformation, accelerated, remote job, remote business, also the business development being done remotely. And that's okay, but there is going to be a hybrid mode as we go over the pandemic, which is hopefully is very soon.
Yeah, we hope so.
And but culturally, if they prefer, let's say, they like to have the personal touch and face-to-face interactions. That helps a lot to build confidence and credibility, especially on the business to business, the B2B relationship, commercial relationship. I believe that's one key message that I can leave here to the audience.
Awesome. I can agree. And actually, when I was working for my previous company, it was called housinganywhere.com. We used to go to many conferences abroad, and that's where I could finally meet my Brazilian partners. And it always ended up with big Brazilian parties with a lot of cachaça and a lot of food and drinks. It was a challenging night, I would say.
Yeah, the caipirinhas. Yeah, we love the
Yeah.
caipirinhas.
Also, you definitely know how to party, and I find it a very nice side of doing business with
It is.
Brazilians too.
And it is.
Awesome. Then, Augusto, of course, you already mentioned it a little bit when you mentioned the mentorship, but can you tell maybe our audience what are you up to in these months, actually?
Well, right now I'm doing this mentorship program as a mentor for the business development school, and it has been a great experience. I like to share my knowledge and share experience in helping people to growth. I believe once the mentee is successful, you are successful. So we partner, we grow together. So I see a lot of peer-to-peer conversation also. And by the way, I have a very experienced mentee, which has been very positive. We are just getting started with the program
awesome.
and the initiative. So, but very positive, very positive. I like it. I see what a peer-to-peer, brainstorming, information sharing. Because at the end of the day, I believe it's always a two-way. You always learn. There is no one way to do things. There are multiple ways, and so there is a lot of exchange on the dynamic of the mentorship program. So that has been very very productive and very very motivating. I'm doing also consulting. Consulting for small companies, entrepreneurship here in Brazil. Business that are just getting started. So how they can accelerate and scale their business, shorten cycle time to get more volumes, what they should do. So more on the consultative, what to do, much more than how to do or do it. For it's very small companies, sometimes entrepreneurs that want to launch and scale the business, and also doing consulting business development. That's one of them. Also for an artificial intelligence solution that plays on improving operational efficiency for companies, made in the distribution and logistics side. So that has been my day by day.
Awesome.
And but open and anxious to interface with and network with business developers globally, and be available to keep talking, interfacing with all you guys.
Awesome. So guys, if you're looking for a very experienced mentor and you want, to get some advice, go check our page on the website. We will make sure that you get all the links to get in touch with Augusto later on. So Augusto, thank you so much. This was very insightful, and definitely we learned a lot today. Thank you so much for being with us today. And of course, see you around in the BD field.
Likewise, Luciano, thanks for having me. Have a great day for you and all the audience, and see you again soon.
Cool. Bye-bye.